to that one instead. There we are. Now we'll start streaming. Greetings and welcome back to Switch to Linux. We are going to be having some guests on today while we talk about, what are we talking about today? We're talking about what software do we use. So we have Dan on right now. Ricky should be showing up soon. And Tim should be showing up soon. I sent them both the link and I haven't seen them jump on yet. So hopefully they'll be on very soon. All right, and the first thing I realized is I've not fixed my my title yet, so we're going to go ahead and do that. And while I do that, Dan, say something. They can't see you, but they should be able to hear you.
Pizza's in the chat. See if he wants to come on.
Yeah, Pizza, you want to jump on? We're just talking about what software do we use on Linux today. If you want one, then I will go ahead and give you that. Just wear that anonymous mask so you don't have a face reveal.
Sorry, I'm a bit late.
How's it going there?
Oh, I'm doing okay. How you doing, Dan?
I'm doing fine. Pizza's kind of sulking because he kind of did the no-no on DT's channel, but nobody's seen much.
You gotta watch that.
He did a no-no.
Yeah, he showed some of his face.
Oh.
Pizza, you just need to put on that anonymous mask anytime you're anywhere near a camera.
I wanted to beam him over a roll of duct tape.
All right, so...
Hey, Tom, Tim F is saying he doesn't have a link in his email.
Oh, really? I sent him 2 emails. Ricky, can you send him the email? Can you forward it over to him?
I don't have his email.
Okay. Tim, what I'll probably do for you, I'll send it to you from my throwaway Hotmail account. Give me a second. But Pizza, I'm going to send you the link on Skype because it's the easiest for me to do. So look for it over there. And Tim F, we are going to go ahead and send... no, not reply from that email address.
No, you don't want to do that.
Reply from throwaway Hotmail address. All right, Tim, you will get a weird email from a weird Hotmail address with a scary Google Hangouts. That would be me. That's my throwaway one.
See if we get Tim F.
Yeah, I just sent that out to Tim. Hopefully he gets it. Pizza, I just sent you one as well. And now that we have people on, let me actually change my and my title screens fixed.
I'm not being very good. I'm inviting people onto your stream.
Oh, that's okay.
This is my very first Life in Linux. I've never been in one of these.
Oh my, yes. Yes, Life in Linux. So Life in Linux is it's me and Toss usually, and if one of us can't make it, then the other one just invites whoever we want on. So, yeah. And then of course we'll make fun of the guy who can't make. No kidding, we won't do that. Definitely check out Total OS today's stream as well. And so today we're just gonna okay. So what we're trying to do with Life in Linux is we try and make this into a just a newbie-friendly Linux conversation. So, you know, if somebody's new to Linux, what can we expect? And that's kind of, we try and pick topics that are very easy for the new user. Ask those basic questions. So if you are new to Linux or if you have questions about it, we are a very friendly community, and we actually even our mods are also very nice. So we do keep a friendly show. So don't be throwing bad stuff on there.
Yeah, no curse words or stuff like that.
The Technician. I've never heard of the Technician. Can the Technician jump on? What do you guys think?
The Technician.
Yeah. You familiar with the Technician?
Who is the Technician?
Why not? Let the Technician in.
We'll let the Technician in, I guess. Yeah, send me a link on my contact form on the website, switchedtolinux.com/contact. Send that, and as long as you're not too crazy, we'll let you stay. But hello, greetings, and welcome. I just don't remember seeing your channel before. But yeah, I actually did an open chat yesterday. I do those just kind of randomly. And that's kind of more of for anybody can jump in on those. This is more of a Life in Linux, but you know.
So,
okay.
So basically, Life in Linux is basically a Linux, a new people to Linux type of show.
Correct. Yes. And I'm just going to go ahead and answer one that just popped up from Mobius Hex. I don't remember seeing you on here before as well. So greetings and welcome. You can get Skype on Linux. Yes,
you can.
You can.
Yes.
Skype actually produces. It is in a lot of repos. You can get a Flatpak of it. So if your system supports Flatpak, and you can go directly to the website, download a .deb. Or you can download a .rpm. So anything in the Debian branch, including any Ubuntu, can run off of that. And anything in your Fedora, Red Hat. Can OpenSUSE also run an RPM or not?
But yes, OpenSUSE does use the RPM.
You could do that. All right, and Pizza is on. Hello, Pizza.
All right.
How's it going
Pizza.
Hello.
Everyone's
I
saying
only
pizza,
got
pizza.
the pizza.
I'm gonna have to turn this down though, because I was playing a game when the stream.
Okay. Now we can barely hear you, but okay.
Yeah, Pizza, you might actually get to talk on this channel.
Yeah, there you go. Yes, that is the cool part. We get to talk over here. How many people were on distros?
It was up to like 12, maybe 16 at one point.
Oh wow. Is it? I thought it's not
14.
Hangouts then. It's not Hangouts then. It's what using.
He was using the Zoom chat
Zoom.
client.
Okay. Yeah.
There's a question in here. Anyone use Talda for your terminal? No, I do not. I do.
Pizza does. Let's let Pizza talk because he says
I'm on Ubuntu Budgie, and that's the default terminal emulator.
Okay. Good.
Okay.
I
use the XFCE terminal.
All right. I use whatever's on the system because I don't really care.
Yeah, I'm the same way. You don't really need much in a terminal emulator.
That's that, and probably the coolest ones. I think the Deepin was really nice. It had a lot of good coloration in it, which was good. All right, let's go ahead, and I'm going to start up at the top of the comments here before we get into what we'll do is we'll go through the comments first, and then we'll get to the bottom, answer any questions in there, and then we'll kind of go through each of the panelists and then myself, what software we're using, and then stay caught up on the comments until whenever we get tired and decide to leave.
So I have this really funny story.
All right. Go ahead and do this really funny story then. But then before we get
I got a notification that somebody emailed me on my Gmail account that I really only use for Hangouts and YouTube now. So I opened the email and it just says test, and I was like, "Who sent me this?" So I replied, "Who is this?" But 30 minutes later, no reply. So I get kind of weirded out. So, I Google the full name of the guy's email and realize he has a YouTube channel, and then I figured out that he has a Steam account because he does gaming videos. So I added him as I messaged him on Steam and said, "Hey, did you send me this?" And he said, "No." And then basically his account got hacked.
Ooh.
Or something.
Ooh.
Oh,
and now that guy's spamming me for whatever reason. The hacker
That's
is.
I just looked down at my keyboard, by the way, and I realized I have an Internet Explorer key on my keyboard. That's my F1.
Oh my God.
Wait,
This isn't that old of a keyboard. I actually got it. I think I got this one. This is
Internet
a Lenovo
Explorer
keyboard.
goes back to 98.
Well, I got this with my Lenovo that I bought it with Windows 8.1 on it. So I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, Noah.
What?
Oh, it's just going to run through the comments here. So Noah jumped on, said he can't make it, but hello Noah if you're still here. Goodbye Noah if you are not. Frost Ranger of the Frozen Realm, hello. I will probably try and
keep in mind that the comments run behind what you're seeing, so we're not seeing them as you're seeing them.
And I'm starting at the very top is what I'm doing.
Mobius Hex has said, I heard Skype rolled out. Okay. Okay, that's fine. Mobius Hex said, I heard Skype rolled out Whisper encryption recently. Can it be trusted?
I don't trust Skype anyway. My answer about can Skype be trusted? No, it's a Microsoft product. Of course it can't be trusted. But unfortunately, I also am a business person and I have to communicate with a lot of different people. And the unfortunate reality is Skype is where people are at. So I am just very fortunate that I can get a Skype client on my Linux computers and I just make sure it runs on computers that don't have any other information that I don't use for anything else. So that Skype is not going to get any information from me that I don't really want it to have. There's no personal files on the computers. There's no real account set up on the computers other than YouTube is on that, and that's about it. And I really don't stay logged into anything else. So, and I don't know specifically what that Whisper encryption is. I don't know what that is, but yeah, I don't think we really ever could trust Skype once Microsoft bought it.
I really do hate that Microsoft bought Skype. Skype used to be such a wonderful application. I mean, back when Microsoft first bought it, back then you had an option to choose either a Microsoft account or just a Skype account. I just stuck with the Skype account until I left my Skype completely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wish I could leave Skype completely. I just can't because things. Jesse Crypto's on. Greetings.
If you use Skype,
hello there.
If you use Skype, this is something that might irritate you. Every time you boot your machine up, Skype will open up with your boot. There is a setting in the Skype to disable that. Yep. So it doesn't pop up every time you start your machine.
Also, though, make sure it has not added itself to the auto start on your distro. Mm-hmm. Because it can do that. And then it's like, it auto starts to the distro, so you got to turn it off in two places. Ooh.
Oh, man.
That's awesome. Toby, hello there. The mic is on. Zerla Mikey. I'm not sure I got that right, but hello. Lord Annex, hello there. Isaiah Briggs, greetings. The technician, I sent you an email link. Hopefully you get it. Faustino HD, how's it going there? And he says, pizza, how are you? Tim F, did you get that email yet? I sent it from a Hotmail account this time. That's a throwaway Hotmail account, so hopefully you got it that time. I'm not seeing any bounce backs, so check your spam folder too. Make sure it's not in the spam folders. I sent you a couple of them. Yeah,
there are a few occasions where I either check my spam folder or my Proton Mail, and that's how I managed to find what you send me sometimes. But over the last 24 hours, everything's going to my inbox.
Zoran tonight, but would like to learn OBS. Ooh, we could talk about OBS a little bit.
Oh, yes. Yes, we can.
So remind me, can someone keep track of the software we want to talk about? I probably could. Here, how's this? I happen to have a pen and a bunch of notebook paper right here. I'll keep track of the software we're going to talk about tonight.
Good idea.
Somebody is organized. I don't know. This
I've
is not
only
me.
played with it. I haven't developed anything to be shipped with it.
Okay. Shipped with what?
With OBS. You know, any videos from OBS. Shipped out on the YouTube.
All right. Okay. Pizza Lovin' Nerd has the coolest icon on here. All right. Pizza, you got the coolest icon, I guess. But my number one app is Synaptic Package Manager and Gparted. Very good.
So the other day, I tried, or actually it was yesterday, I tried out OpenSUSE, and I decided to use the Mate desktop environment. But But one thing I wanted was an icon-only task manager, because that's what I prefer. So I tried to get the icon-only task manager working for OpenSUSE, but I ended up going into the dependency hell, and I couldn't get all the dependencies installed. So eventually I just gave up and went to Ubuntu Budgie.
Yeah, I like Ubuntu Budgie. That's probably my favorite Ubuntu build at this point.
I had the same issue with Ubuntu with one particular piece of software, but I managed to hunt down all the dependencies, and I made them work.
I noticed that the older the Ubuntu distro is, the better it works with older software.
Greetings. I'm guessing you're the technician.
Yes, I am.
All right. Hello there. We can barely hear you. Want to turn your mic up just a little bit? Well, greetings. I haven't seen you on the stream before, so welcome.
Is that better?
That is much better.
That's better.
How are you?
Good.
So, what are you running for your OS?
Right. I have been using Linux for the past, I've been using it since I was 12 years old, so I would say about 2011.
Wow.
First time I used it was when I was
And
9.
right now I am 19 years old, so right now I'm in the middle of deciding what distro I'm going to use.
Cool. Very good.
I'm
And
like,
And Tim jumped on real quick. Let me jump in. Hi, Tim. How's it going there? You finally made it. All right.
Tim.
Yep. Hey, guys.
All right.
Hi, buddy.
Technician, going back. What's that?
all right, so basically I was deciding what distro I was going to use. I've been distro hopping for like about 8 months now, since July, and I've been like going to say, hey, which distro am I going to use? Because I like all the desktop environments, but I just wish I can use them all in one. Like there was like an all-in-one solution that integrated all of the
Best features.
best features,
Yeah.
and would actually get more of it would
I'm where
actually
you're at.
Do you like GNOME or KDE?
I'm more of a GNOME person, but
You should,
GNOME
you
has
should
been
try
really
OpenSUSE.
getting on my nerves.
Oh, if GNOME is getting on your nerves, try Budgie. It's basically GNOME done right. That's what I say.
I agree.
Yeah,
Budgie
I
is
love
awesome.
Budgie.
Yep.
But
I think I still like Cinnamon way better, but Budgie is
I believe Solus
up there
GNOME
too.
is the best GNOME distro. It's the lightest, and it's the only GNOME distro that doesn't have any crashes or anything for me.
Because basically what I do for a living is I do gaming videos on my other channel, True Tale.
Okay.
And basically what I do is I basically just started it up.
You play CS:GO.
And basically what happens is I'm using Windows right now, which I want to get off the Windows platform. And I want to get on the Linux platform where everything is private, because I've had my data hacked before and it was not a pretty thing.
Yeah, that
play
kind of
CS:GO?
sucks. Hey, Pizza,
Yeah.
you're a little light now. Could you turn your mic up just a bit?
Sure.
Thanks. Trying to monitor and make sure we get right around the same audio levels. Tim, how's
Is
it
this
going
better?
today? Yeah, that's better, Pizza.
Yes.
Tim, how's it going there?
Really? I turned it to max.
Pizza,
because I thought it would be
pizza.
funny.
Pizza. Tim's got the floor. How's it going, Tim?
Hey, it's going really good. How's my sound coming through, Tom?
Your sound is coming through well. Very good. All right.
Awesome.
So, yeah, I'll try and keep everything. The good thing about I have my OBS set up here, so I can monitor your guys' sound and my guys' sound at the same time. So.
Hey, the guy who is switching to Linux right now, who said
Yep.
he had a gaming channel,
Yep.
do you play CS:GO?
No, I do more of sandbox games and more of I do more of open world sandbox racing. You know, I'm more of that specialty.
I think CS:GO is the best Linux game right now.
All right, I'm trying to figure out the new platform that they just released. I'm trying to remember what the name was that Steam released, the new platform.
Proton.
Proton. Yeah, Proton. And basically Proton was, they went from 13 games to 2,300 games in just like a month.
What?
So people have been.
Cool.
So basically, the
Huh.
Proton platform, everyone was requesting games, and everything was doing.
Yeah, so I heard that's going pretty well. So if you are needing to run, now does that run just with games, or does that help with other support as well?
You can put Proton. It's better for games. I noticed that it can't. People have gotten CS6 Photoshop to run on it, but you can use it as a wine prefix on like Play on Linux.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So if you're lost, what we're talking about is one of the biggest challenges for some people switching to Linux is the one area that it lags really far behind on Windows is gaming support. Now, that's never bothered me because I'm not a gamer, but for those that are gamers, that's one of the things to keep in mind. Well, in the last couple months, Steam released, was it Steam or was it Wine? Who was it? Steam did it.
Steam.
So I don't follow any of the game stuff. But they released Proton, which is a prefix add-on to Wine, which stands for Wine is not an emulator, which basically allows you to run Windows. It's a Windows application compatibility layer for Linux, which means you can run Windows programs on Linux. It doesn't run a lot of things, and it doesn't run everything as well as it would run on Windows. But Proton has made leaps and bounds in the last 3 months as to what can actually run on Linux from the Windows world.
So there are 470 supported games, and if it says that if it has official Steam Play support and you discover a problem, then you can get a refund within 14 days or 2 hours played.
Wow. Cool.
But only 263 of which are guaranteed to work. There's some games that work on some computers, but not all of them.
Good, very good. Okay, so here is, since our topic today is on software, so we want to stay as close to that software level as we can. So I'll kind of rein in anything that's not. We have an excellent question here from Zero and Mikey. Honest answer from all of you: can Kdenlive or Shotcut replace Adobe Premiere and Final Cut Pro? What are your guys' thoughts?
I think it can. Well, Final Cut Pro it can replace, but not Adobe Premiere.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going with Pizza Nerd because it's really, the user interface is okay, but it's not really, it's iffy and it's a little hard to navigate for like beginners.
It can be unstable on some distros too.
Yeah.
Particularly GNOME distros.
Dan, any comment?
I'm going to have to side with Pizza on this as well. I've had some issues with it crashing too.
I've never used I've only used Kdenlive for a little bit. In my opinion, I never really liked it. I prefer to use OBS over Kdenlive. So
Kdenlive doesn't record.
Yeah, different applications, I think.
But
We'll talk more about OBS later.
In my opinion, OpenShot is a joke. I can never get it to work on anything.
Well, he didn't ask about OpenShot. He did ask about Shotcut. Tim, have you used any of those?
You know, I've played around with them. Have I used them to any extent whatsoever? No, I have not. You know, to me, there's a few things from a Windows world going into a Linux world that really have, and this is more not my personal experience, it's what I've read, what I've, you know, understood watching guys like you, Tom, is Adobe really has some, they really have some good stuff. They really have some really well-rounded applications. Are there good replacements out there in the Linux world? I think there probably are. Problem is finding the right one to work with the right distro to work with the right hardware.
Well, I think GIMP is superior to Photoshop in every way.
GIMP is one that I do have a fair amount of experience with, not a ton, but I would tend to agree with that. From an open source perspective, yes, but if you're looking at closed source versus closed source, Photoshop is kind of at the top of its game.
There's also Infinity Photo. That
there
has
is a
cool
third
features.
option.
Yeah, go ahead, Dan.
Krita is even more superior if you're digital.
Hold on, we're talking Kdenlive, Shotcut, Adobe Premiere, things like that. So Dan, do you have something?
There's Davinci Resolve. And if you can get it to run on Linux, they do have a Linux. Huh?
I've never gotten it to run on Arch or Ubuntu.
I got it to run on Mint for a while. The thing with that is you don't get any codecs with it. You have to pay them $250 to get the H264 and 265 encoding codecs with it.
It's a good editor on Windows, but I've never gotten it to run on Linux.
Like I said, I got to run for a very short time before it eventually crashed and I couldn't use it.
Yeah.
Well, was that a crash, Dan, or was it like a free preview period type of thing? You know, you got to use it for so long or so many hours or whatever.
No, it was obvious it was starting to deteriorate.
Okay.
And in the literature, when you go to their website, they kind of push it for CentOS, that it's supposed to work best with that Linux distro.
Well, I guess if you need to try it, do that. My overall take on this is that Adobe Premiere is probably going to be a little bit more cut above the edge at this time. However, in the last 2 years, Kdenlive has made dramatic improvements that it wouldn't surprise me that if they don't catch up. Yeah, I've never really had stability issues as long as you get the right version of Kdenlive, and I always just run any computer that I'm actually doing video editing, I make sure I'm always using the stable repo for it, and I just add it to my system so I'm not relying on whatever the distro manufacturers have put in, because I have found that to be unreliable.
I noticed that the flat pack of Kdenlive always works.
The flat pack sucks. Then they push you towards a flat pack. I have never had that thing to work, ever. I've tried it on multiple systems.
The flat pack works better than most of the default packages for me.
Well, that's, again, you're talking about what's built into the distro. What I do is I add the stable repo from Kdenlive on top of my distro. That always works best.
Well, it could be that I was using Arch, which is bleeding edge. So
that's possible, yeah. But flipping that back around, though, for me, I don't want to be paying a subscription fee. In fact, I was talking about this with somebody today. To use the two packages to do with your your video editing, Adobe Premiere is $30 per month, and if you want to use After Effects on top of that, it's an extra $30 per month. So do you want to do $60 a month, or do you want to deal with some of the little things in Kdenlive, which can do almost everything? There's a few areas of instability. There's a few instances where it doesn't work quite as well. But like any software, when you first pick it up, it's hard to use. You learn how to use it over time, and it becomes easier and easier. So we were talking earlier about GIMP, and when I first switched over to Linux, using GIMP more, I've been using Photoshop for 8 years. Obviously, GIMP was harder. Now I'm better at GIMP than I am at Photoshop. So that's kind of it. Pizza, go ahead.
You said that every software is difficult to learn at first.
For the most part.
I think an exception would be web browsers and music players.
It depends on the music player. Web browsers, maybe.
I always use Lollipop. That's my favorite music player. Actually, there is this one that is a elementary OS exclusive music player. It was it's called what's it called? It's called I forgot the name, but I stopped using it because I had this album, and this actually happened today. Today I stopped using it. This is sort of inappropriate, but I had this. It automatically gets album art off the internet, even though I always put my album art inside the directory of my music. But it got. Let's just say there's a not suitable for work picture as my album art.
You actually can add your album art right to your tag file, your meta file, in your MP3.
I found that is sometimes reliable and sometimes not.
Let's just say there's an anime not suitable for work album cover that was shown.
Wow.
Every single one of my music files has its album art built into it.
Yeah.
It works on everything.
It doesn't obey tagging. That's what's weird. It doesn't obey tagging. It's irritating.
Yeah, that's now. Here's a question: does it? Some of the media players only read ID tag 1. Some of them only read ID tag 2. Is it just an issue of they're not tagged with all tag types?
I use Picard Music Player to tag mine, or Picard Music Tagger. So it detects the name of the album from each song just by matching like the
what I'm saying. What I'm saying, what Dan's saying is you can tag it in the metadata. There's different levels, different types of tags. That's why I use KID3 to do all my tagging, because you can set what's on each tag type.
I use YouTube DL to get my music.
Yeah, well, that's fine.
There's a tool for Windows, I think it's called MP3 tag. And there's an equivalent to it, except it doesn't do the album art as well as far as downloading it for you. It's called Puddle Tag. They're almost identically laid out programs.
So I'm sharing my screen now. This is Musicbrainz Picard, and what you do is you add in your music. So like I can put in this song, for example, and open. And what it does is I click lookup, and it automatically detects the album name, basically. It can take a while, but as you can see, it's detecting. It's basically trying to match the files up to an album. So, and it's getting the info. And once it's done, it will generate. Here it is. Here it is. So now it has the album. So then I can just make sure everything's right, and then I can click on the name of the album and hit save. That's how I use Picard. And then I use YouTube DLG to get my music using playlists.
Geez, you got easy tools. When I was doing MP3s, it was like I had to do every single thing manually. I had to type everything in all the fields or copy and paste.
That's what I used to do, but then I discovered Picard.
Wow.
Yeah. Hey, Mark, how's it going?
Pretty good.
Yeah.
I know I'm so fuzzy. I can fix that, I believe, real quick.
Yeah. Okay. So let me. I'm going to show my screen real quick, at least for the streaming stuff. So what I use to do my tagging is called KID3, and this is the ideal one for Linux that I found. So since I do all my tagging manually, because I want to control across any device. So this is what I'm talking about. There's different levels of ID tags. This is ID 3.1. This is level 2.
Is it just me, or is everybody talking at once?
Just you.
No, just you. Yeah.
I'm getting everybody.
What you'll need to do is mute the video, because what you're hearing is you're hearing the video on the one side and you're hearing the Hangouts on the other. So mute the video so you can hear us on the Hangouts. All right, so over here, you can select each individual audio file, and you'll see the tag name over here. And then what you can do is I just copy the one in, and then I just pull from tag 2. Now you can see I have an image down here. This is the image that is tagged, so that if your player, such as VLC is a good one, plays and reads the meta image embedded in the file, then it will actually display this as a picture. So this is actually from my audiobook, and you can see here that you just go to the individual folder. You have all of the versions here. It tells me what type of tag level we have. So this is what I use to tag all mine, which works really nice.
I need to show you guys a legendary meme. Name one good thing this man has done, and then it shows Steve Jobs died.
Oh, that's
bad, but
that's a bad joke.
That was a bad joke, yeah, but yeah.
I don't even wish that on my worst friends.
Oh my god.
Which would be my enemies.
What in the world? My Chrome window just went missing. Here we go. That was weird.
Okay. All right. All right. So, Mark, how's it going there?
Hey, that kid, I just got that.
I'm trying to get a hang of this.
All right.
I'm still grainy. I'm like glazed over. It looks like
yeah.
the rose.
Now,
smoke.
did you clean off the front of the webcam?
That's
you know?
what I'm doing. That's what I'm trying to get to. Yeah.
It looks like you might be like a 720p webcam. Is that what you have, or less actually?
Yeah, it's built into this plastic fantastic HP laptop.
Oh yeah.
You should see the webcam I did for a Save or Smash episode.
For now. I'll have to check that out later, Pizza.
It was literally like, it looks like a painting.
Let's look at this one real quick here onto the software tent. Kyrie Holmes listed his, and so Kyrie Holmes, if you haven't followed his stuff, he does music production. So check out his channel. He does all his music production on Linux. So for you guys into music production in Linux, Lmms, which a friend of mine also experiments with a little bit, really likes that. Audacity. Of course, I recorded and produced my audiobooks all on Linux using Audacity, Kid 3, a few other applications. Those are actually available now on Scribd that I've seen them so far, and they'll be out on other ones as well. He's using OBS. We'll talk about more about that a little bit later. SSR, which is Simple Screen Recorder. Kodi is this is a media player. It's basically a separate desktop environment media player. And Mix, I don't know what that one is. Bressario for burning CDs. VLC Spotify, which you can get Spotify. We see Mark cleaning the camera. And we have EasyTag. So he's using EasyTag instead of Kid 3. So that's cool. So you guys
found the Kid 3. It's from doing a distro review in VirtualBox. I got Ubuntu Studio, and I was playing with all the software in it, and I opened it up, and I'm like, this is really nice. I wonder if I can download this and import it into what I'm using, and that's how I got it.
Guys, check out this cool Linux setup I found on Reddit.
Wow.
It's like cool glass looking.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, it is.
I like that.
I wish someone would make a tutorial how to do that.
Okay, so Harold Cruz uses Wire instead of Skype. It says here Pizza's audio is low, but I think that was before I said to raise it.
Signal
the only chat I use is basically Discord, and if I have to, like, if I really have to, I'm kind of forced to use Skype because that's what my family has.
You should join my Discord server. It's pretty good.
Yeah, Pizza 11 Nerd has a Discord server. You can check that out.
Me too.
Oh, cool. We're good. All right. All right. So Skybear uses Raw Therapy, which is a good raw photo editor. Luminance HDR for photography, LibreOffice, and KeyPass. Very good. And greetings and salutations to you as well, Skybear. Joe, is that you? No.
Sorry.
All right. So let's go ahead and we're never going to get to the bottom of the comments, so my apologies for that. But let's go ahead and talk about the individual Linux packages. Like, we're not talking about what necessarily the terminals and things like that. Like, how do you use your computer every day to just do the basic stuff? Dan, what do you think? What do you use?
I use mine for about everything. You know, I never used to game until I started playing with Linux.
Okay.
As ironic as that sounds, I had Windows for all those years, never played a game on it. I get Linux, there's these people that want to play games, there's English Bob playing his truck game, and I'm like, man, that looks like fun. So I go buy the truck game.
Terrible.
You know? And then Spatry has game night on Saturday night with a selected few guys. So I started gaming with him a little bit. And other than the games, I use the web browsers quite a bit because I watch an awful lot of YouTube, or I'm on YouTube. And I do a lot of work with I wouldn't say YouTube video production, but I convert a lot of VHS tapes and old tape hardware to at least up to DVD standards. So they're watchable on a DVD player.
Okay.
That's something I've always wanted to do, and unfortunately I'm in my 30s now, and I grew up on CDs and cassette tapes and stuff. No, I never got to mess with the vinyl. I know my grandparents and my parents had vinyl LPs
I have
a
vinyl.
lot. Yeah, vinyl. It's a very special type of sound. When you start the record, there's nothing quite like the nostalgia of vinyl. But I never got to do that. Because I didn't save my stuff. I'm stupid.
Right.
I just realized that my monitor has a serious burn-in issue.
Ooh.
Oof.
With
Should've gotten
vinyl,
an IPS monitor.
vinyl is an analog to analog to analog type situation, meaning it's analog from the very beginning at the recording studio, right to the disc that you buy at the store, right to the machine that puts it in your ears.
Wait a minute. It's not an issue with my monitor because it's showing up on the live stream on my iPad too.
Yes, it is.
What the heck?
I think it's probably just lagginess from Hangouts.
No,
camera
this
reflection.
is on my computer. Like it's showing up on my monitor.
You sure it isn't someone's camera reflection?
I don't know. It may be something going on with me. No, it would be on his location.
Yeah,
I forgot to powder my
it was
face
like a
before it
weird
came out.
triangle and then a square.
Hey Mark, what are you using Linux on your basic systems right now, or are you still doing split Windows Linux? What are you using?
Well, right now I'm dual booting only because I don't have the third machine yet to just run Windows alone for the family and friends, basically, and for data storage.
All right, so when you're on Linux, what software packages are you using?
Software-wise, I'm using right now. I'm on Windows just temporarily, but software on Mint 19 I use. Simple screen recorder. When I do get to shoot video, I want to use that for my tutorials. I do Handbrake, LibreOffice, of course, Scribus to do handmade do-it-yourself tutorials that I can sell at some point. Inkscape, those and more. Clementine.
So WordPress is hosting a party in Seattle.
Hold on, Pizza. I don't think Mark's done yet.
And pizza will be provided.
That's it.
I might go.
All right, Pizza. You got the floor, man. WordPress is serving you up. All right, that sounds exciting. All right, Pizza. What are you doing with your computer, and what type of soft package are you using?
What?
What type of things do you do with your computer, and what type of software are you using?
I do everything on this computer.
Yeah, like what type of software? Like what type of things do you do? Do you write books? Do you? I mean, you do videos, obviously. So.
I haven't installed everything yet because I just distro hopped to Ubuntu Budgie today, so I'm still getting everything installed. But
okay.
I play CS:GO a lot. I use GIMP for graphic design and thumbnails. Actually, I haven't done graphic design in forever. I'd like to get back into it. Can make some cash, but I have LibreOffice installed just in case I need it for school, but I almost never use it. Even though I should. I use Kdenlive for my videos and OBS for my videos. I use Lollipop for music playback and Picard for tagging, and then I use YouTube DLG for downloading YouTube playlists for music.
Okay.
And then I use VS Code for coding and GitKraken as my Git client. And I have a GitHub student account, so I get a bunch of stuff.
Very cool. Yeah.
Very cool.
And guys, like Pizza's 13, so get up off your butts and do stuff. All right.
Exactly.
I'm kind of like him, Tom. I use my computer for just about everything and anything, not just what I mentioned.
Yeah. And so what we're trying to get at with the software is what is the scope of things you can do with your Linux computers? And so, I
also use Chrome for writing and for web browsing.
Okay. All right.
The reason I use Chrome instead of Firefox is because of two reasons. One, both of them involve school. So one, school doesn't allow you to. It blocks the Chrome Web Store, which means you can't get extensions at school. However, a workaround is to sign into a Google account that has extensions on it. And then also, I use bookmark syncing. So I have all my bookmarks right here from school. So basically, if I'm doing something at school and then I have to go, whether class is over or lunch is over or something, then I can just bookmark what it is, and then it will save to my computer at home. And then when I boot my computer up, I can continue what I was doing at school, basically.
Yeah.
So that's the reason I use Chrome with a signed-in account.
Yep. Yeah, which not the thing that we always recommend for security, but I understand he's doing that because it allows him to get past some of the school's firewalls because he found a loophole.
I can also put a VPN on this and use it at school.
All right. The technician, what are you using your computer for, and what type of software are you using to do that?
Well, right now I'm using Windows, but I'm getting ready to switch to Linux, as I told you, because right now I'm using Steam, and I did have a Linux distro. It was Ubuntu, and I was swapping. I also was swapping from Debian to Fedora.
Yeah.
I was all over the place, and I was trying to decide which one would fit best for me, and I'm like, none of them fit the right kind of features for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think
the latest one I had on my computer was KDE Neon, and basically that one kind of failed on me. So right now I have a box of flash drives.
Yep.
That I put Ubuntu on.
Needed for all Linux guys.
In my opinion, this is just my opinion, but in my opinion, there is no reason to use KDE Neon. People use it because it's bleeding edge with KDE software. Yeah. It's a rolling release somehow, even though it isn't. And it
and
the KDE portions roll, but the core port packages don't. The core packages are based on Ubuntu LTS.
But here's the thing: if you want KDE Neon, you could just take Kubuntu's minimal install ISO, or Kubuntu with minimal install. Get the newest KDE PPAs, and you're done. You have
but some people just want to run Neon.
Stable version of KDE Neon set up.
That's okay.
Yeah, but then I wanted to use Ubuntu, and I'm thinking about I'm settling with Ubuntu 10.10 because I really like the icon style and everything.
1810.
Because yeah, I'm into the new style. It's really nice.
Okay. Good.
The GNOME or the Unity?
Hold up.
The GNOME.
Gotcha.
But
good.
But really, when I use GNOME, I also have some issues on my Alienware. So basically, sometimes I have to install all the drivers, which means disabling Secure Boot, which I really need Secure Boot because it really keeps all my files safe.
No, it doesn't. All it really does is make it say, "Oh, you can only use Windows and."
No, Pizza. Ubuntu supports Secure Boot. So you can install Ubuntu onto a Secure Boot, overriding the Windows Secure Boot portion, and have a Secure Boot system with Ubuntu.
Well, all Secure Boot does, though, is just make it so the distro has to have a code that makes it allow to use Secure Boot.
It's an extra security thing. It has a valid reason. He has a valid reason for using it. That's why. Yeah, that's why he wants to do it. So in which case you want to stick with an Ubuntu.
All it does is make it so you can only boot from OS or only boot software that is trusted by the original original equipment manufacturer.
All right.
That's a help out document from Microsoft though.
Exactly.
UEFI adds a lot of extended capabilities.
Yeah, Mark, tell us. Mark is actually in the profession of computer tech stuff. So what exactly?
Get out.
Well, yeah, but
I'd love
can
to
you
be
give us
fired.
any more insight on Secure Boot, Mark?
Secure Boot, basically, from what I understand, it uses a different partition scheme on the hard disk drive, which is called GPT for larger disk, which means bigger capacity. Anywhere from 500 gigs and above can typically use GPT partitioning. And basically what UEFI does for it, wow, the camera is terrible.
That's okay. We can hear you.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to upgrade that soon.
We can hear you though.
It gives extended capabilities, and like it allows you like certain features when you're running Windows on a gaming rig. It allows you to do stuff like underclock your CPU or overclock it and undervolt it. And it allows you to do things that may specifically be used in certain cases, certain purposes, such as gaming, because now those features are included in the UEFI newer BIOSes. So it gives a software layer on the operating system that can communicate with the BIOS, the basic input-output system chip on the motherboard, which the basic input-output system, as Pizza would know, and Tom will know, is it gives instructions to your hardware telling it how to run, how to work. So that UEFI just gives extended capabilities. Mainly is the big benefit from it.
And the big take home.
And it's more secure.
Yeah, the big take home is that Ubuntu does fully support it. You have to overwrite what Windows has already put into it.
Yeah.
So you just have to make sure that that's the case. So, and that's why the technician wants to run that, because it's a valid thing for sure.
Yeah.
What else are you using it for, technician?
I'm also going to be using it for video editing, and I'm also going to be using it for music production. I'm also multi-talented.
I recommend Ubuntu Budgie right now.
Yeah, I like that. Ubuntu Budgie is an awesome one.
Actually, though,
if you like GNOME, go for Ubuntu Budgie. Yeah, go
ahead. But actually, not so long ago, actually, only like 2 weeks ago, actually, I was getting fed up with how bad distros have been lately in my experience. And I was thinking about switching back to Windows, actually. I've been having, this past 3 months, I've been having really bad experiences with all distros.
I don't know. I have had like zero issue with any of them. I'll get to me in a bit. Tim, we're going to give Tim the floor now. What are you using your system for, and what packages are you using?
You know, I am nowhere even close to using my computer as much as anybody else on this stream probably does, activity-wise. Am I on it a fair amount? Yes, I am. Emails, to and from, web browsing. I do some listening to podcasts on my PC when I'm doing something else. Generally, that's reading the news. I'll have a podcast on in the background. I use Ubuntu 18. I've got Ubuntu 18.10 on this HP laptop. So far as any packages, the day-to-day stuff, I've found that as time goes on, I am doing the apt-get install for less and less things after I install a distro.
Yeah.
LibreOffice, I have Scribus, Focusrite, and VLC. That's pretty much it. Web browser-wise, I use Chrome most often.
Okay.
However, I've had a problem, for one reason or another, I've had a problem with Chrome. Not a problem with Linux itself. I believe it's the hardware that is causing problems with Chrome when I'm in a Hangout. So I have Vivaldi and Opera on this machine as well. So, okay. But I don't do a lot with my computer. You know, I work with some Word documents from here to there. I work with spreadsheets from here to there.
Okay.
And outside of that, my computer is not a work tool for me. It is more of an enjoyment tool for me.
Okay. What do you use podcasting-wise?
Excuse me, Tom?
What do you use podcasting-wise?
To listen to podcasts?
Yeah.
Generally, I'll listen to them right off of the web page, depending upon what podcast it is. Okay. But, you know, honestly, most of my podcasts I listen to on my phone.
Okay. Right.
You know, when I'm sitting around, because my phone, I can listen to a podcast, and I can get up and I can go somewhere and I can keep playing the podcast. I can jump in the vehicle, turn the podcast on through.
I think that's a popular way to go for sure. I just wanted to bring that up because for those that do use podcasts and do use them on your computer, Rhythmbox is one of the software packages that is installed. I can't show it to you because I pretty much have uninstalled everything off this computer that I don't use for it. But Rhythmbox comes with a lot of Linux distros. You can install on pretty much any. It supports podcasts wonderfully. There's another one called Gpodder. I like Rhythmbox better because it drops the podcast directly into your music folder, whereas Gpodder drops them in another obscure location in your home folder.
What I have a problem with Rhythmbox is when I open it, it wants to go through all 4,200 and something songs I have in my music directory.
Yeah, I don't let Rhythmbox go into my music directory. I traditionally like Banshee as my favorite for that. So my one laptop, which is kind of behind me that I use for my mobile Linux workstation, that's the only one that actually has a lot of music and thing in it. Banshee is the only one that I have on that because it does everything exactly the way I want it to do.
What's funny is I don't store my music anywhere except for on my computer and on my phone. So what I do is I have my music on my phone, and then when I distro hop, I transfer the music off of my phone to my computer, and then when I want to get a new album, I download it with YouTube DLG and then put it back on my phone. So I'm always transferring music between my computer and my phone.
Yeah. All right, Ricky, we're gonna give Tim. Anything else?
I use, as far as media and stuff like that, I've got 80 gig worth, and that's on an external SSD, and I just use that to.
I run. I mean, on that topic, I run all my all that stuff for me is on an external NAS. So I have one NAS in the system, and that way, all I have to do is plug in Kodi, tell it where to point it, and boom, done. And I don't have to do any transferring of music anywhere unless it's dropping it on a phone or on a mobile computer that's not going to be on the network. All right, Ricky, what are you using your computer for, and what software do you use? We've lost your volume, Ricky.
I can't read lips.
Yeah, we're having a hard time reading Ricky's lips. There you go. We can hear you now.
Yeah, the problem is the thing about my headset, it came with this little thing. I don't know if you all can see that. Whenever this button is pressed, it mutes me Anyway, I use my computer mainly for YouTube production, but at all heart, I am an old school video gamer. I go back to the Nintendo NES days, so whenever I can, I will get like maybe an emulator or two here and there if I want to do some gaming. I use Steam. For YouTube production, I use OBS, which is what I mainly use. If I need to do any other production through my webcam, I'll use let me see if I can find it for you. I also use Cheese, which I love Cheese. Cheese is a really nice tool for.
I had some cheddar cheese with lunch tonight. So.
I also have a Vlc Media Player if I need to listen to music. That's the only media player I even have on here. I also use a app that's pretty much exclusive to Arch Linux, as far as I know. It's called CapRain. It's a unofficial Facebook Messenger app. This allows me to use Facebook Messenger to keep in touch with my friends and my family, so I can at least have a little bit of that. I also have Deluge. That's the only BitTorrent thing I even have. I use Firefox mainly for my main daily purposes, but for live streams exclusively, I'll use Chromium because Chromium provides me the best quality possible. That's the only reason why I can't get rid of Chromium. I also use Lifery. Lifery is an RSS newspaper-like thing. It allows me to see news from Ars Technica and all that. And also I have the Zoom client. But other than that, my computer, besides being gaming and YouTube production, basically the way I have it laid out, thanks to Arch Linux, it looks just amazing. I love the appearance of it, and I say it's the best system I've ever had.
There you go. Yeah. And are you having issues, Ricky? Are you having software issues?
I have not had with this. recent installation of Arch Labs Linux, I have not had a single issue with XFCE. It's working marvelous. But I am thinking of switching the distro in early 2019 to something else. I just haven't decided what's going to be yet.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Yeah,
I'm in the process of loading a distro now. For the desktop, it's old.
For me, I mean, I do a ton of different things, and so as far as different applications, let's start with the things that is split between Windows and Linux, and that is the web development stuff. And well, web development's probably easier to do on the Linux. I just have a workstation that's been set up on Windows 7 that I've had going for about a decade, and it still works. I'm not going to jump it just because it's there. But as soon as that dies, which it will probably eventually, having a 10-year-old computer, there is another Linux computer that is ready to drop right in that place, and I won't skip a beat. So as far as doing web design development, of course, you need to do graphics. So I use GIMP primarily for that. Bluefish Editor for web design stuff. Of course, FileZilla to interface with all of the FTP clients you need to work with. And there's probably a few other ones out there as well. So those are all good applications that I use for those. I write books. Of course, I use LibreOffice to write the book and to do all of the production of the book, to produce them. And that sends them everything out. Of course, GIMP does the cover designs, and I use a combination of Calibri and Sigil to develop the ebooks. So those are all Linux applications as well. And then, let's see, I do use Scribus as well. I do that for recipes, for when I'm doing those. I do a little bit in Blender, which is a 3D rendering animation. Let's see, what else do I have on here? Obviously, your web browsers and things. Every now and again, I get a sermon in from the ministers that I support, and if those come to me on DVD, I use Handbrake to take it off and put it into my NAS. Kdenlive, Kdenlive, Audacity, Kid 3 for podcasts and videos. So that's about what I'm using these computers for. And then, of course, there's the media stuff. So that's kind of the software that I'm using and how I'm using it.
You use a variety of things too, Tom. You're constantly doing stuff. So
yeah,
for your work.
Learning and just that kind of thing. So of course, email. Didn't mention email. I use Thunderbird and Evolution. Evolution being my primary one. Thunderbird gets used for anything that I need to deal with IMAP or things like that.
You know, Thunderbird and WaterFox, I brought those into Linux out of Windows.
Wow,
so
that's interesting.
Yeah, I got emails that are 20 years old. I probably had my first one.
Yeah, I don't have my first one, but yeah, I used Thunderbird early.
But for like the Hangouts here, I'm using Vivaldi for that because it works, and I have no reason to install Chrome or Chromium.
Yeah,
and it seems to be doing the job for me.
Yeah, I'm using Chromium for mine.
Yeah, I like Thunderbird, but I like Evolution too because I can definitely see the similarity between it and Outlook. It's real professional. It feels real professional.
Yeah,
I don't know why my mic.
See, I don't have no real glued feeling to anything for email from Microsoft.
I use Evolution as well. I also forgot to mention one more application I do use. I found this in the Arch user repository. I did not know they had this. This is something taken from good old Peppermint Linux. I use ICE on this machine.
Ooh, nice. Nicey. Yeah, so ICE, if you're unfamiliar with ICE, that is a extent. Why don't you explain it, Ricky? Go ahead and explain what ICE is.
Basically, what ICE is, it's a special type of browser that allows you to turn a web page into an actual application. So say, for instance, you want Facebook Messenger or maybe Discord or maybe YouTube, for example. You want it to be an application. Basically, you just open up the browser, put the first line at the top, you put in the name of what it is. The second line, you put in the URL. and then you select which browser you want to be the default for the opening of ICE. You press the button. Boom, done. I use ICE I use ICE most of the time. I love it. This is one of the reasons why I loved Peppermint is because of ICE.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You know, excuse me if I'm wrong. Excuse me if I'm wrong, but you know, taking let's just say Gmail. You have a Gmail account and you want to turn that into its own app. You can do that right out of Chrome. Can't you? I believe you can create. Yeah, I believe you can create an application.
Yeah,
you might be able to. Yeah, yeah. ICE allows you to do it through Chrome, Chromium, Firefox, or there's another one. I forget the fourth one.
Yeah.
But ICE allows you to do it with any of them. Vivaldi, that's it. Yeah. So Troy Hall, sorry if we are way behind on comments, but Troy Hall says, do you have a video making emergency install drive that also allows you to have time shift sessions on it? No. As far as having an emergency thumb drive, just any live key works. One of the best ones is Tails, because it's just ultimate security on top of everything else. As far as time shift, I think time shift's kind of a waste. I mean, it does the same thing Windows Restore did. I mean, Windows Restore was a good thing because it took all eternity to get Windows reinstalled. If I have a problem with a Linux distribution, I just install the distribution. Just make sure you have a good backup of your home folder. So, yeah, I'm sure somebody out there has some information on how to do that. I don't personally. That's my thoughts on that. Anybody else experience with time shift?
I don't really
use it.
Okay, this is how far behind in the comments we are. Is Proton only for games? I think we covered that half hour ago.
Do you guys know?
Yeah.
Ryan.
It's only for games.
Do you guys know Do you guys know RALEIGH? I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's the old default theme for GNOME before 2014. Before June of 2014, that was the default theme for GNOME. It looks like Windows 95 took a dump on Windows 8. That's how I can describe it.
Well, yeah, I mean, exactly. And GNOME's just gotten worse from that. No, kidding. I like picking on GNOME.
You know, I actually don't.
I just get it.
I've always been kind of a GNOME user. And I would rather use vanilla GNOME than anything else. If I'm going to tinker with something, that's about all. That's about as far as I go. But Ubuntu 18.10, their, Canonical's version of GNOME, the Ubuntu desktop, it isn't all that bad. And surprisingly, I only had to install 2 extensions. I installed the user theme extension and a weather extension, and everything works.
Charles Salzar asks, what's a good PDF editor that's free and doesn't leave a watermark? It depends on what you mean by PDF editor. Do any of you guys have experience with PDFs?
Nope.
Yeah, I had to hunt for one that would leave a watermark because I have a draft of a manuscript here and I had to put a big old watermark up there, like no distribution, copyrighted material, etc. So I was looking for one that left a watermark. Of course, I need to choose a watermark.
Come over here.
Good.
Are you talking about trying to be able to edit a PDF?
I think so. And I think that this is where the thing about a PDF is it was specifically designed to not be edited. So that was the thing about PDFs. Now, there's things you can do to them. There's like Adobe Acrobat has a limited number of things you can do with a PDF. There might be tools like that in Linux. I haven't had the need to look for them. But as far as the best you're going to get, Scribus, I think, would have some functionality.
You're saying with a PDF, when the guy's done making it, it's done and sealed and locked, and it goes out as that document, and it's not supposed to be modified after that, right?
and the reason the PDFs were made in that format is because they were used for journal articles and things that were sensitive, that documents and other things could be changed or edited. And so PDFs were written to not be changed and edited very easily. Now, of course, some of them nowadays are written with a little bit more functionality to be in mind. Oh, we have a cute cat. Pizza, say something so the kitty goes up there. Oh well, we're stuck on Tim's. There, I got it.
Fox Reader.
Yeah.
If you're looking for something, a lot of that functionality now comes with the free version. It is made for Windows, but they also have a Linux version. You've just got to use the terminal to install it, but it is really... Yeah. They give you instructions. It's crystal clear on how to do it. They make it so simple.
And I think that's Acrobat Reader, I think, is one of the things he's talking about.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's fine. The other ones I've used in Linux, PDF Shuffler is great. It allows you to move and manipulate around the pages. Just move the orders around, things like that. Add PDFs, combine them.
This is Bowie.
There is a PDF toolkit. It's called PDFTK that is installed on a lot of distros as a terminal, and there is a GUI interface for it, and I forget which one that one's called. That allows you to do things like add watermarks, maybe things like that. So
the reason I like PDFs is because my teacher normally uses Microsoft Word to write his assignments. But of course, since I'm on Linux, I have to use LibreOffice. So sometimes I could have some formatting issues on LibreOffice because I don't have it set up to use Microsoft Word fonts. So I like PDFs because I don't have to worry about that.
Yep, that's a good way to go. And then of course they can't change your answers and stuff in the middle, you know.
Oh, by the way, everybody in the comments, smash that like button. Support everybody here.
Yeah, you have a nice crowd tonight.
Yeah, there's 70 folks on right now, so thanks for coming along, guys. Wow. Maybe Sunday night's a good time to do a live stream, huh? People wear like a badge because people think the following wiki typing commands. Okay. Just kind of scrolling around for things because I'm never going to be able to get everything. Used to use Adobe Premiere. Honestly, I wish I used Kdenlive before. It's free and actually prefer it more. I believe Linux is going to be adopted even more as time goes by. Absolutely. And that's kind of my take on it.
Yeah, GIMP is totally superior to Photoshop.
Yep.
The tech teacher at school tried to convince me to try Photoshop, and I'm like, okay, where's the They don't use normal Photoshop. They use like this cheaper version of Photoshop.
They use like this Photoshop CC or whatever.
No, they use I think it's
Elements.
Elements.
Yeah, Photoshop Elements. That's it. But Photoshop Elements lacks basic features in it.
Yeah, like
I was
change the resolution.
Well, GIMP. The way I do it in GIMP is the way I change the resolution in GIMP is I just put all of the layers in a group, then scale that group to the resolution I want, then crop it. But I was like, where's the clone tool? And he's like, that isn't in there. And I'm like, how could Photoshop be better than GIMP when it lacks a clone tool? I can't, or the stamp tool, I think. I can't remember the name.
Yeah.
It's not. That's the big secret. Nobody wants to admit it's not.
I mean, normal Photoshop might be a little bit superior, but
yeah, the normal Photoshop is certainly good. I'm not sure I'd say it's superior. I'd say they're about on the same plane. There's some things that Photoshop will do better. There's some things that GIMP will do a lot better.
I was able to private Photoshop by editing a registry key.
Shame. Anyway,
I got it for free, and I still preferred using GIMP.
Yeah. In 2.10, GIMP 2.10 just had a lot of things. The only major problem with
I prefer 2.10 a lot better than 2.8.
Yeah, I still use 2.8 just because it's what it's here and works. I think I put 2.10 on my other one though.
I really hated how it wasn't in single window mode by default on the old one. You know how you can have if I share my screen.
Oh yeah. You had boxes splattered everywhere.
Annoying.
This is what it looks like by default on 2.8, where
actually, it just depends on the distro. Even 2.10 still does that on many distros.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
2.10 does that, and I hate that.
Yeah, that's the first thing I always do. Go over there and change that.
This uses single-windowed mode.
I got a good design tool and photo editing tool for Linux. It is called Gravit Designer.
Gravit's good.
Yeah, Gravit is very good.
It's the best Illustrator alternative. It's much more full-featured than Inkscape, and it works
I
good
found
on...
Inkscape pretty much I found Inkscape pretty much exactly like Illustrator. I couldn't find what was missing.
Gravit, it also works on Chromebooks because there's a web version. Of course, the web version doesn't have as many features, but as the desktop version, but it's still really nice. Actually, I think I'm gonna make a video about this pretty soon. But there's this website called Rollapp, and it lets you run different software online. So I can go into let me log in really quickly because you do need an account to use it.
While you're doing that, Benjamin Eldridge says, I use Chrome for Hulu. Won't even work with Chromium. Benjamin Eldridge, Hulu should work just fine on Firefox. Just enable DRM.
Yeah, thank you.
Hold on, I need to log in.
I'm having trouble with Hulu too. It will not run on WaterFox.
It may not run on WaterFox. I'm guessing it's going to be about the same. View.yahoo.com, you can watch several Hulu programs for free without an account. It's just an ad-supported system. I watched that with Firefox.
I have an account and I still can't get it to work.
Really? On Firefox or WaterFox?
WaterFox.
WaterFox stripped out the DRM, so you won't be able to get that to work.
Okay, so...
You have to use Firefox.
Okay, so I'm on Rollapp. So basically, if I wanted to use, let's say, GIMP online, I can click on GIMP. And this, I use this a lot on Chrome, on my Chromebook. But I can, as you can see, GIMP is starting up now. And you can connect it to Dropbox and Google Drive, so you can access files on them. And as you can see, GIMP is a full functioning version of GIMP. This is actually an older version. It's 2.8 instead of 2.10. But still, it's fully functioning GIMP inside my browser.
That is insane.
It's very slow, but it works. That's what's cool. So I can paint a pretty picture with this.
You're not supposed to do a face reveal, Pizza. Come on, man.
What?
You're not supposed to do a face reveal, man. Don't do your face.
Wait, where's my webcam?
No, it's not. It's not. I'm messing with you, dude. Because you're drawing a picture of your face.
No, I wasn't. I was just randomly sketching around.
I know.
Also,
joking with you.
You know how you see how it's moving very slowly? Mm-hmm. That is not because of Hangouts. It's actually moving at this speed, but it's probably because I have. Yeah, I only have 1 out of 5 bars on this, so I'm barely connected to the server. I have a poor connection.
Yeah, that's still quite amazing. It really is.
Yeah, and I use it a lot at school and on Chromebooks.
Yeah.
There's even games on here. You can run Minecraft is coming soon, actually.
Ooh.
But so you can play Minecraft in your browser. Probably a horrible experience, but still. So I can get Tux Math Nights. Most of it's open source software. Jeweled. Hold on. Shut up, Bowie. Sorry, my cat's being annoying. But
anyone here running 4K monitors?
Why?
No.
Somebody asked, will Linux scale 4K resolution on high DPI monitors?
I know Monte and Budgie do, but
I know Ubuntu will.
I'm pretty sure
I have
Cinnamon will.
I have
wide.
Sometimes I boot distros on my dad's Mac, and his Mac has a 4K monitor. So, I know that Mate can. Newer versions of Mate can. 16.04 can't, but 18.04 can.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then I know Elementary does it just fine.
Yeah, I think Cinnamon will as well. I've seen settings for high DPI in there. I just don't have a 4K, so
I tried. What I did is I put Elementary on an external hard drive, and then I told Dad, "Hey, I installed Linux on your computer."
Oh,
oh man, did he ground you? Come on, man.
No. No, he didn't, because then I told him it was a hard drive. It was an April Fool's prank.
I get this.
Okay.
It's not as funny as Lineage's Goat April Fool's Day.
Oh my lord!
Hello, Anna Rita. Anna Rita just showed up.
Just that'd be so funny if I was
Kitty,
just
want to
in
say hi to
class
Anna
and
Rita?
started playing
Want
Ghosts.
to come say hi to Anna Rita? Do you? He's not. Kitty's not sure he wants to come and say hi to you, Anna Rita. I mean, I'll get him here eventually for you, but.
Looky there.
I can't find that Ghosts thing anywhere.
Anna Rita says the DRM in WaterFox has to be enabled.
Is there DRM in WaterFox? I didn't think it was there at all.
Well, get this. This is what I'm experiencing. Okay, with WaterFox, it doesn't even come up. The page there's no page there. You have to have the DRM turned on just to buy Hulu and sign up for it.
That's bad marketing right there. Let me have a look at that.
So, you know
So if
what?
I go to hulu.com. Oh, the kitty did come say hello to Anna Rita. Come on, buddy.
Can I tell you about the
Anna
time
Rita.
I distro hopped on April Fool's Day? The first time I ever used Solus on April Fool's Day was the first time I ever used Solus was on April Fool's Day, and I went to Solus, and then one of my friends at school wanted to play Minecraft with me, so I downloaded Minecraft, but Minecraft was doing an April Fool's Day joke where all the textures were messed up. And I thought that was an issue with the distro because I've never had it happen before. So I spent like 45 minutes trying to fix it, and then my friend goes on Minecraft.net and it says, "Hey, that was an April Fool's prank. You realize, right?"
See, and this is why I find it inappropriate when they do that. But that's a topic for a different day. All right, so
Minecraft April Fool's Days are funny.
Dan, I can go to Hulu on WaterFox, and I'm pretty sure I don't have DRM enabled.
Before the year before that, they made it so all of the enemies in Minecraft were giant villagers. That was really funny, and it messed up some servers.
Calibri. Anna Rita uses Calibri a lot for ebooks. So Calibri is an excellent ebook manager. Let's see if I have Calibri on this.
Okay, so I'm making
don't.
an article about my issues with snaps and Flatpaks, and
Okay.
and I want to tell you if I'm missing anything, or want to know if I'm missing anything. So I got containerization. I said that I don't think anyone uses snaps or Flatpaks just because they are containerized. And sometimes the containerization can be annoying. For example, snaps have some issues with file managing. It has a hard time with that, and they don't obey GDK themes by default because it can't access the user's directory, and also it can't detect other system processes, and OBS saves in its own folder in the snap folder. And then I put com.maintainers.app. It says, when trying to install any package using the command line, you have to remember the identifier. The identifier is what installs the app you're trying to install. Most package managers just use the name of the app, so if you want to install Discord or Snap, you'd have to type snap install Discord. However, Flatpaks, you'd have to type com.discordapp.discord. This is similar to how Google Play Store identifies apps at the end of the URL. But this is not a problem with Play Store apps because you can't use the command line to install a Play Store app. And then I also have one on how they don't support GDK.
I'll tell you what I think you're missing from the stat pack perspective is that, then this is a huge concern of mine, and they gloss over it. And when they were talking about it on Toss's stream the other day, again, it was glossed over. They are shifting verifying a package to verifying
You're correct.
a builder. In other words, did you mention that?
What? No, I was just going to say I did mention some benefits of snaps.
Yeah. Well, here's to me a big concern is the thing in the Linux community is we are concerned about open source software. We are concerned that we can audit and edit the code. They've literally said we cannot possibly audit all of these snap packages, so instead we're relying on the developer and we're placing trust in the developer. That's a radical shift in how Linux is. But it's right there.
Audits all the snap packages. They
vet their
audits all the snap packages. FlatHub audits all of the packages on their repo. So that's only an issue on snaps. Really, the only issue with Flatpaks is a containerization and identifier thing for me, but because you can get themes working with Snappak or with Flat packages. All of the code is audited on FlatHub. The only distro that shoves Flatpaks down your throat is, for whatever reason, Discover on Arch uses Flatpaks by default, which is bizarre because I don't think Arch users want to use Flatpaks.
I don't know, Ricky. Do you want to use Flatpaks?
I'm not interested in Flatpaks.
Okay, our resident Arch user said no.
I used to be an Arch user. I've been having a really bad time with distros in the last 3 months, I'd say.
Yeah, I haven't had any issues at all. Now, I'm going to address this
too. I've
question.
been melting them down left and right.
I want to address this comment from Anna Rita. Is Kodi working? TED Talks. All right. I have not tested TED Talks for all. I will tell you that within the last 3 weeks, there was some major change somewhere where my system stopped allowing me to add new things to the library, and it ended up being an issue with particularly the movie database platform apparently changed something, and I had to update that. So go through, Anna Rita, make sure all of the plugins are updated and see if that fixes it. I have not looked at that, and if I get the chance before my Wednesday live stream, I will try and boot up Kodi and see. I just don't sit in front of the TV a lot, so I don't know if it's working or not. I haven't tried to boot up a TED Talk in a couple months. So I'll let you know later, Anna Rita. Remind me, and I will hopefully be able to tell you that by then if it's working. But I did have a problem with my Kodi box in the last couple weeks. Updating the plugins resolved the issue.
So my distro issues lately. I used Arch for about 4 or 5 months. Arch broke my distro hopping spree, but then one day there's an update push that broke Ben Fitzpatrick's eyes. It broke both of our Arch installs. And I remember Ben was on Toss's stream that day.
It broke mine too.
Do you remember that? But
that's Manjaro for you.
Yeah, but I was using pure
rolling release. It's not Manjaro, it's rolling release.
But after that, I distro hopped to Ubuntu, and I meet Ubuntu Mate, I think, and I immediately had issues with Mate and stuff. It kept freezing. This was 18.04 before 18.10 was out. And I had all these issues and stuff. 18.10 Mate is a lot better.
I'm on 1804 Mate right now.
Could it be a hardware thing? Then I decided, I guess I'll just switch back to Solus. Well, on Solus, I had this weird audio popping issue where whenever my headphones were plugged in, it made my speakers make a weird popping sound. So I'd have to unplug my speakers. And then also, I couldn't get VirtualBox to work. Normally it works fine, but I couldn't get it to work for some reason. I tried the normal steps it takes to fix it on Solus. And then I went to the Solus website to get a fix, and it still wasn't working. And I needed to install a package that wasn't in the repo. Then 18.10 came out, and I had to do all the reviews. So I distro hopped to each one. Really, all of them are good this release, except for Ubuntu Kylin and normal Ubuntu. But the rest are actually really good. This was a good release for all of them.
I'm glad to hear that. I didn't have a lot of luck out of Kubuntu. I had icons missing.
Actually, I did have issues with Kubuntu and Lubuntu.
Yeah.
Both of those I had issues with, but all of the other ones worked flawlessly.
I was on 1804 LTS and I had issues.
Oh, I was on 18.10. So
yeah,
then
it's graphical.
And Xubuntu worked great for a while. It's just I'm not particularly a fan of the XFCE desktop. So now I'm finally on Ubuntu Budgie because I noticed that one worked the best when I was distro hopping. But before I went to Ubuntu Budgie, I tried OpenSUSE, and I had dependency hell trying to get a doc applet for Mate working, and then I distro hopped over to Ubuntu Budgie, and now it works great. But if I have issues with this distro, I seriously might switch back to Windows because I'm just having for whatever reason, the last 2 months, I've had issues with every distro I've tried, and I can't figure out why. Solus used to work flawlessly. Now it's now I'm having that audio popping bug.
I've been in the same perpetual hell that you've been in, Pizza. It doesn't seem to matter what I try. And
Yeah.
I always end up coming back to Mint, even though Mint 19 is buggy. It still works far
I'll tell you what,
better than
go to Mint 18.3 and stay there for a while.
Yeah.
Amen.
I think
Amen.
the biggest problem has been, I think the Ubuntu 18.04 package core was crap, and that basically messed up everything downstream from it.
You know, I haven't had anything break on Ubuntu 18.10 as yet, but I'll tell you this.
Yeah.
Well,
I
18.10 is good.
Yeah, 18.10 is pretty good. 18.04 kind of sucked. It wasn't that good. And again, that could be a hardware thing with me. For some reason, I have hardware issues with this HP. I do have another laptop in the house that has Elementary on it. And yeah, I know we have our own feelings about Elementary. Let's just put it that way. But
It's fine.
But you know what? It's the older Elementary, the 0.4, I think it is.
Yeah.
Not one problem.
Yeah.
That laptop, honestly, that laptop can sit for 3 or 4 months. I can turn it on. I can do all the updates. I can power cycle it after the updates are done, and it doesn't crap out on me.
Breaking news: Linux Mint 19.1 is switching over to Ubuntu 18.10 instead of the LTS release.
Really?
I wish that would happen.
Wow.
Yeah,
No,
okay, he says he wished, yeah. See, that would probably fix it. And that's one of the reasons I've stayed on 18.3, because it works, but I've had issues with 19 branch.
Yep.
Okay, Anna Rita, I just took my Kodi that's on this computer. I installed TED Talks, and TED Talks are working for me. So if you're having an issue with TED Talks, Anna Rita, then try uninstalling the plugin and re-adding it. See if that works.
Oh,
apparently I'm wrong. Apparently WaterFox does have DRM. I didn't know that, but okay.
Ubuntu 19.04 was just announced. It's coming out on April 18th, 2019, and it is going to be codenamed Disco Dingo, and it will ship with GNOME 3.32 and Linux kernel 5.0.
Disco Dingo.
What?
Disco Dingo. And
I kind of like it.
Okay.
they
Disco
are
Buck.
also
Disco
redesigning
burn
the
out, burn, baby, burn. All right.
They are
That's
also
the whole-
redesigning the Software Center to make it look more like Mac OS's Software Center.
Oh God.
Why?
Please,
People are not gonna like that.
Mac was not
I
good
will like it, but
then.
nobody else will.
Oh my god.
I might like it.
Elementary OS store is absolutely drop dead gorgeous. I just
what do
can't
you
work
think?
off the desktop. I'm having the same problem Tom is.
Well,
Specifically.
you can work off the desktop on Elementary. You need to install Nautilus. You need to install your dconf editor, make a couple changes in there, and bingo, you can get your desktop working. It's a pain, and I have a video about how to do that. So you can look for that video and see if you can get it to work.
What do you guys think?
I
Android
don't think I want to go back.
What did you say, Pizza?
What do you think Android Q will be called?
Quantum?
Android Q.
Android Quantum?
No, it has to be a dessert. Because all of Android stuff for snack foods are desserts.
Yeah. What? But what dessert even has the word letter Q in it?
What about Android Queen of Puddings?
All right. Where's my web browser? I need my web browser here. Let's do.
They should name it Android Quesadilla.
Too bad 1804 was unstable because I was digging Bionic Beaver. I love it.
Hulu.com does not even work in WaterFox. You can't even go there to even sign up for a subscription.
Somebody, I don't know, because somebody in here does get it to work. They said they have gotten it to work, although it's a pain. Another person did say that Cinnamon does work with high definition on HTV TVs.
What about Android Quiche?
There you go. That's probably what it'll be. Probably just redo it and people will forget it. People have such short memories.
Android Kisoto. Kisito.
Okay, I was looking for lists of them too.
I'm on Frostbites. I found a list of name
I think
predictions.
they should just do quiche because they're going to kind of stock Android, trying to push that out.
What about Android Quince?
It kind of makes sense.
I think Android Queen of Puddings is pretty good.
Okay, when I get 2 pop-ups on your webpage, I'm not going there anymore.
What?
You know, it's not yours.
I was like, what?
No, it's like I'm looking for things. You know, what snack foods start with Q? I can't find. Yeah, you're having better luck than I am.
I need a Debian-based distro for my desktop.
Okay, what are you looking for, Mark? Debian-based distro does what?
Yeah, and I'd typically run MX Linux or Antix, but I want to try something different. It's for a HP desktop. It's got like 4 gigs of RAM, DDR2. It's old. A 64-bit greater than 2.0 dual-core clock processor.
Anything
Android
that
R
low
could
of
be
system
Android rice
specs,
pudding.
anything that low of system specs, I would do something like I'd do something like Peppermint.
That makes sense.
Try that.
Yeah, I think
machine
I'll
with
just do
them is-
Peppermint.
I
I want to get off the Ubuntu base.
The Peppermint's Ubuntu base.
Yeah.
Is Linux Lite Ubuntu based?
There aren't any other good bases that
Linux Mint Debian edition.
Yeah, there you go. Boom.
There aren't
That's
any
what I'll do.
There aren't any good bases except for Debian. Except Debian, all of the packages are ancient. They use Firefox ESR.
You can use Debian testing, and it's still a pretty stable system. It's much more up to date.
And then Arch always breaks when you update it. Fedora doesn't have anything non-free, and that includes drivers, which means I can't get it to work on my computer.
They're making it
I think
easier
it's going
to
to be
install
Sandy.
them.
LMD, Sandy, I appreciate it.
OpenSUSE doesn't have enough libraries on it. Solus isn't even supposed to be a base. It's supposed to be a standalone distro.
I want ultra stability for this machine. I want to use it for somebody to be able to just come in and, like, if my brother needs to print something off.
Why do you want to move away from Ubuntu in that case?
Just 1804 is just irking me. I'm tired of the way Ubuntu's
do earlier
doing
builds. All right, your earlier builds, like that's why Linux Mint 18.3 still has security updates and is still supported until like 2023. I mean, it's gonna be fine.
It's still
now
the latest Ubuntu kernel too.
Yeah. What I'd probably do on that though, I wouldn't do the Linux Mint because of how low system specs are. I would do an older version of Peppermint. It's like my Lenovo with it's just a little netbook. Lenovo runs absolutely flawlessly, and I'm running Peppermint 7, and it is absolutely awesome. The only packages that I wanted updated are LibreOffice 6, and I have it. So.
Yeah, I think it can run Peppermint 9 no problem, but it's Ubuntu based.
Yeah,
that's
like I said, go back to Peppermint 7
1804.
or Peppermint 8. Peppermint 7 or Peppermint 8 based on Ubuntu 1604.
Peppermint 8 ain't that old.
Okay, how long is Peppermint 8 supported till? Because I want this to be just set it and forget it long term. I don't want to have to change this out for years if I can help it.
It's got the same update cycle as Ubuntu
as the
does.
9.
Yep.
As what? I'm sorry.
Well, Peppermint is Ubuntu based. I mean, yeah, it's Debian based, but it's Ubuntu based. But
yeah,
very typically, Peppermint follows the same release cycles and the same support cycles as Ubuntu.
Yeah.
So if you did Peppermint 8, I think they're on Peppermint 9. If you did Peppermint 8, I think that's good until 2021. If you do Peppermint 9, it's good until 2023. Now, the one thing that we've been talking about Ubuntu 18.04, this kind of being, kind of a not that great.
Yep.
Just because Ubuntu 18.04 has been, let's just say, less than stellar so far as its stability.
Yeah.
A lot of the spins that come out of Ubuntu 18.04 are better than 18.04 itself. We have to realize
that is true.
Because in a lot of cases, the development team, specifically Peppermint, I think Peppermint just I think they just put a ton of work into their releases before they come out. Now, look at it from the perspective is some of the fellow YouTubers out there. English Bob he had a problem with Peppermint 9 when it first came out, and that was because there were some niggles out of Ubuntu that didn't get fixed before the Peppermint release was out. Yeah. But I think English Bob's been on Peppermint 9 for, months now, and he has no problems, and he throws a lot of abuse at that distro. He's doing the trucking thing on it, you name it.
Hey, so
I think this will run Peppermint 9 with ease. I really do. I upgraded the processor in it a while back, and I maxed out the RAM. It's got really good RAM in it, even though it's older. DDR2, but...
Yeah, but the big thing is only 4 gigabytes. The thing that you're going to look at from a user perspective is what system resources the desktop environment's going to use.
Yeah.
If you use something like Cinnamon or Ubuntu, I'm not sure how budgie is on desktop resource usage.
Yeah, that's what I really want to do.
You're going to start to get to like a gig, a gig or 1.2, 1.3 gig.
Yeah.
If you throw Peppermint on, it's going to stay. Tom, what is Peppermint? The Peppermint desktop is usually about 600 or 700 meg.
It's less than that.
System. Yeah, it's less than that. I have a 32-bit version on a really old dual-core machine.
Hey, can you guys help me?
What is it? I think I got it. Thank you. I appreciate all the information, guys. More than
on my article, basically, I'm trying to come up with a header for the fact that distros are ignoring the normal system repositories now and pushing snaps and packages. What should the header for that paragraph be? I guess just, I don't know.
I'm a creative mind. I can help you with that. Just give me a minute to think of something.
Wait, I might just put system repositories are being ignored.
That
I
sounds
would
a little
just
bit.
lose all
I think that sounds a little bit
being
blank.
and just repositories ignored. I mean, what is it for? What is the overall project for?
Oh, I'm writing an article on my website.
Okay. So you kind of want to make it pop. Okay,
Yeah.
Sting.
No, it's not the title. The title is the issues with snaps and flat packs.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
talking
just
about
the
like the
heading.
header for this paragraph. Like, for example, when I talked about how snaps don't support theming, I just put theming, or for how. What?
You could be kind of clickbaity in a way, but it wouldn't work in that abandoning repository responsibility or something.
Yeah, I'm gonna do abandoning repositories. Well, the problem is those snaps or flat packs use the FlatHub repository. I sort of wish there was another major repository for flat packs other than FlatHub. I kind of wish that existed.
Give it time.
It's gonna happen eventually. I guarantee that.
Give it time.
OpenSUSE has experimented with their own package format in the past, and it actually works pretty good. I've used OpenSUSE.
I like app images because they're just an easy way to package for all other distros. It doesn't have the containerization issues. Yeah, you do have to trust the fact that the app image is legit, but it works with theming. It's all really nice. I like the app images. And actually, my project TermGet is getting support for app images, where now you can download app images off of a repo that is set up by App Image Hub. I've actually talked to the Assassin, one of the major contributors of app images, to help get app image support in TermGet.
Oh, good. Very cool. Jay the Minimalist says, have you seen the distro called Macbuntu? I believe it was built on Ubuntu 9. No, I have not seen it before.
I'd like to make a video where or a new series where I try and run ancient operating systems as my main OS. So I could try and run Ubuntu 10 10.04 and then after that video I can do the original Ubuntu, and then after that I could do Windows XP, and then after that I can do Windows 95. But I have to run it as my main OS for 3 days.
Fun.
Ancient OSs that
now
probably
is it allowed on the internet?
What?
Is it allowed on the internet?
Well, why wouldn't it be allowed?
Because if you're running some ancient operating systems, you might have an instant security hole.
Oh, I'll just push everything through SwitchedtoLinux's VPN. No, I'm kidding.
Great, thanks. Actually, that would probably work. Because yeah, I block a lot of stuff in this place every day. It's kind of
no.
crazy.
I didn't say host file. I said VPN.
Oh, I know. No.
Oh.
That'd probably work because my system blocks a lot of junk, man.
I need to set up a VPN for school. I'm using this one called Turbo on my phone, and it probably knows everything about me.
Yeah, you could. Do you have an extra droplet available on DigitalOcean?
I could set one up for an extra $5.
Yeah, you could set one up on a droplet.
I could just set it up on the same one as my WordPress server.
Oh, SkySilk apparently is looking for supporters again, and their guy sent me an email like, "Hey, you did some stuff before. Would you like to do some again?" And I sent an email back. I said I have some things planned. I said I was going to use DigitalOcean, but can you guys offer anything better? And I haven't seen anything from him yet. So
I'd like to somehow I'd sort of like to. I wish I was big enough to host a sponsorship or something. You need at least 10K subs to do that.
To do what again? I'm sorry.
A sponsorship.
On what?
On, I don't know, just some tech product. I did see that this company that makes gaming gear did sponsor someone with 300 subscribers, but the problem is I'm not a gaming channel, and I'd like to one, do a sponsorship with a service that I like. I don't want to recommend people something that I don't like. You know? And two, I'd like to have, if it's a sponsored video, I'd like to do an honest review. I'd like to be able to say issues with their product, you know? And at 300 subscribers, that's a really hard thing to do. You know? Because the product's looking for people at 300 subscribers or something, probably want it to be, this is the best product ever, you must use it, you know?
Yeah, you gotta, that's the ugly part about affiliate marketing and other supporter stuff, is that sometimes you gotta sift through and make sure, is it really that good?
Yeah.
And because so many things like the Genesis theme on WordPress has been pushed entirely by affiliate marketing, and that is the biggest, hottest pile of crap I've ever seen in my life.
I really like the way my WordPress setup, or my website is set up.
Yeah.
And one thing I was worried about with WordPress is I was kind of worried that it'd use up a lot of server space. No, I was wrong. Or not server space, CPU usage.
No, pretty low.
I was wrong.
Your integrity when you're reviewing products, or if you ever get paid to review products, and you'd be surprised. I've seen a guy with 500 so subscribers review products. Is actually a buddy of mine. Got paid to review some mints called Viter mints or something. But if you ever do, pizza, remember, number one is your integrity, because that is something, if you get that broke down, that is extremely difficult and takes years to build back up. And just how you treat people, try to engage with people, respond to people, and just be human, like Toss says. But your integrity, you know, never let somebody throw out a great sum of money and have you sugarcoat everything, because people will see through that. People that have used it know better, and they will call you out. So you know, that's going to help you in life too. As you grow up.
I know, is looking across things, being in the web design world, I think the number one payout for affiliate marketing on web hosting is HostGator, and the reason I don't have that link is because I would not recommend my enemies build a website on HostGator.
Yeah.
Well,
they suck.
you wouldn't recommend
your
enemies.
A long time ago.
You kind of want your enemies to have a bad experience, right?
Well, and that's the thing. I don't want them to have that bad of an experience. Come on.
Well, they're your enemy.
Yeah, I know. I mean, you know what I'm saying, though. So the reality is, I push the hosting companies that I do, which are A2 Hosting, SiteGround, and InMotion, because I've used them. Yeah. And they're good. Those are the ones.
They're the best. They're the cream of the crop.
I tell all my enemies that iPhones are the best phones.
You're just evil, though, Pizza. You're just crazy.
That deserves this.
It deserves what? Oh,
damn.
It's getting annoying.
Man, that's just cruel.
I wrote this article about the pros and cons of both Android and iOS and how I like both of them. But and iOS has more pros than I put for Android, mainly because I couldn't think of much pros for either of them. I just put nitpick stuff.
If you do not have the ability to change the ROM on your phone and you want security and privacy, iOS is actually better to go with. But if you do have the ability to change the ROM on your phone, then Android is better to go with.
But I tried to get people who were making fun of my phone to read the article, and they're like, "It's biased. It was made by you."
Yeah, well,
I even admitted in the article that was slightly biased, but towards Android, I even admitted that. But
Benjamin Albert says, "Why not vanilla Debian? Because chocolate Debian is a whole lot better."
Actually, I made a typo.
Yeah, I like a little chocolate on my Debian too.
Yeah.
With a cherry on top.
That's right.
Yeah, dress it up a little bit. It's a little drab.
You know what's funny? You could still get update to the latest version of Google Apps on Android KitKat. You cannot do that on older versions of iOS. You need at least iOS 11 in order to get the latest versions of the YouTube app, You can, but if you tried going to iOS 10, you could not get the latest versions of apps. But most apps still support iOS or Android KitKat. That's one thing I really like about Android.
Apple iOS is really intuitive. I mean, for certain people, it makes a lot of sense. I have friends and family that love it, swear by it, but I think their biggest asset is iOS, and when they start messing that up, they've got it straightened out. People are really liking what they're doing with iOS now ever since Tom had his issues. A lot of people had similar problems with the older iOS versions, but they've really straightened it out. It's pretty dang intuitive. What little bit I've used it.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of iOS these days. I'm pretty much done with Apple.
Something interesting I saw with Apple. I was bored the other day and I was reading some news articles, and I saw that they had their big get together, and I'd mentioned this on Tassa's stream last night. And they introduced, they've had the iMac for a long time, and that's essentially, their desktop variant of computers. They introduced an iMac Pro, and I went to the Apple website and thought, just for the heck of it, have a look at it. Looks like a really good, really robust machine.
Yeah.
And then I saw that the starting price on it was like in the $4,000 range. So I thought, oh, you got to be kidding me. So I went into the cart where you can spec out the machine type of deal. So I went into the cart and I picked the highest option of every category that I could. And it topped out at like 12.5 or 13.5 grand. Now, you really have to be doing something special to, as a company, be able to sell a computer for that type of money, a home use desktop computer, or possibly I can see there's some, professional fittings for it. But that's a lot of dough for a computer.
Oh, let's buy 12 of them for the office. I would not do that.
That's
that's also insane. Though the specs
don't forget about the Apple tax.
the specs are from like 2012 also. You know, it's horrible specs for the price. I mean, it's good specs if it was a $1,000 computer, but 12 grand.
Their latest, they've gotten a lot. They've caught up a lot with that. They've caught up a lot with that though in their latest models.
Get a $1,200 gaming laptop.
Let me build you a PC.
Put Mac OS on it.
Yeah.
One thing I do like about iOS and Mac OS is they are extremely light. Android is pretty light too, but all of the manufacturers bloat up everything and make it heavy. But Windows Phone and iOS, actually Windows Phone, it's crazy how light the OS is. It runs smooth. Windows 8 runs smooth on 512 megabytes of RAM. It's crazy how smooth the OS is. And Windows 10 runs fine on 1 gig of RAM. Wow. You need at least 2 gigs of RAM to run Android Oreo, you know?
So long as you've got DDR3 RAM and you've got more than 4 gigs, you'll run Windows 8.1 and probably even Windows 10 fine.
I don't know.
For Windows 10, you really need about 8 at the minimum.
Once the disk is done spinning at 100% for 25 minutes, and the RAM and the processor stops getting up there for whatever in the world it's trying to do, then yes.
Yeah.
Which basically does that.
That's not exactly quick, now is it?
Yeah.
I didn't say it would be speedy. I said it would be. It would run good, not even well. I wouldn't even use the term well. It'll run good. Windows 10 will run good with 6 gigs of RAM. It won't run well, but it'll run good.
Yeah. I'm finally done with this article that I played.
And you can find that article at pizza11nerd.com as soon as it hits that publish button.
It yet. I'm gonna publish it in like 10 minutes.
Okay. Well, in 10 minutes from now, have a look at pizza11nerd.com for the articles over there. We're gonna wrap this up a little bit, so I have some other things I'd like to try and get to tonight, if I can.
I'm trying to do a weekly article, but this article I have to study a lot for. Most of my articles are stuff I already know about, but I had to study a lot of the flat packs, you know? And then I had to write it, and some of the things were really hard to write. Like, the one for the identifications, it was really hard to explain. I went through 3 drafts of this, and then I actually almost finished, but I forgot to save on my phone.
It should auto-save, though, automatically.
That's what's weird. I thought it auto-saved, but it didn't.
It does. You might have to go up into the revisions and look for it. But
here it is. Yeah, too late. I already wrote it. Rewrote it.
Yeah. All right. We're gonna go ahead and wrap this up here in a few minutes.
To write the conclusion.
So we'll go ahead and take any final call for comments, and then we'll kind of wrap it up. Daniel, what are your final thoughts on Linux softwareiness and stuff like that? Is Dan here? Not sure. Mark, what are your final thoughts?
My final thoughts are use Linux. The software is just about, honestly, it's on par with Windows. You will be very, very surprised if you'll just try it. Try something like Mint, MX17, maybe not MX. Maybe start with Mint or Ubuntu, an Ubuntu flavor. If you like Windows 10, go with KDE Plasma. If you like Windows 7 or older looking feel, go with like XFCE or Cinnamon, and I think you'll be very surprised. Just realize that KDE Plasma has graphical issues. Hopefully they'll get those bugs straightened out, but like I say, it's doable. You can do it. Switch to Linux.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was long-winded.
No, that's fine. Pizza, final thoughts on comment on software and Linux and stuff.
My final thoughts is that I can't think of any final thoughts, so come back to me.
All right. The technician, final thoughts.
Well, I think that Linux is pretty good. I use a lot of the programs if you want really beginner stuff, I recommend Ubuntu. It's real easy to install. You know, it's real easy to set up. You just burn a USB, you plug it in, you boot it up from the F12 or hit delete, and you install it. It's really simple. Anyone can do it, and then you have a full access to software. The software libraries like Windows, but it's more open source. And basically, it is a beautiful piece of software. And my final thoughts on the Software Center is pretty good, and also I would like to thank you for having me on the stream.
You are welcome, man. I'll let you know when I'm doing another open stream.
Thank you for being here.
Final thoughts now.
All right, Pizza, final thoughts.
Oh wow, 4 people are on my website right now. Cool.
Oh, cool.
But my final thoughts is that Linux and open source in general is becoming superior to Windows, in my opinion.
So.
And
so just remember that. So you're not allowed to switch back to Windows. No.
There are some issues with the open source community, some growing pains, like the Linux Code of Conduct, the snaps and flat package stuff. Sorry, that's still in my mind from when I wrote that article that I just released. And some stuff like gaming isn't good on Linux. So there are some growing pains, but it does. But other pieces of software like GIMP, those are superior to Photoshop, in my opinion now.
Mm-hmm.
So depends on, as long as you're willing to cope with some growing pains, Linux can be superior to Windows.
Absolutely. Tim.
This is just another thought. I think Tim, your mic is muted.
Yep.
I was waiting for you to finish, Pizza.
Oh, sorry.
I think that's very well said, Pizza. There's some growing pains.
Absolutely.
One thing though is keep in mind about my site that I always release articles immediately when they're finished, and I don't proofread them until the next day. So usually on day 1 there's typos. Keep that in mind.
Cool. All right. Thanks, Pizza. Matthew Moore jumped on. So hi, Matthew Moore. We're wrapping up, but greetings. Welcome for coming by. Tim, your final thoughts.
You know, I can be a technical user if I need to be. It's kind of like that thing where, you know, if you don't use the tool, it sits in the toolbox, and every so often you have to take the WD-40 out and get her loosened up and then go to work with it. But I no longer have any of those needs to do any of that stuff. So for me, you know, the computer I use it as a tool, don't get me wrong. But one of the things that I see so often, I love using my computer, but back in the day when I was distro hopping and I was trying to screw around with this or trying to fix that or breaking this or trying to unbreak that, I just wasn't having any fun. You know, the more I can honestly say that the more I played around with distros, say 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I wasn't having any fun with my computer. I plainly wasn't. I think open source software has a ways to go. Comparatively, if they want to catch up with the mainstream stuff that's out there, I think they have a long ways to go, particularly in the QA side of life. Does that mean that it isn't a good option? No, I think it's the best option. I think that people care about open source more than they care about, you know, an engineer working on a piece of software at, you know, Microsoft or Apple. I think the open source community is a better community than all the working engineers underneath the roofs of people like Apple and people like Microsoft. So
Agreed.
I think there's more potential there than we could ever say. I love everything that I do with my Linux laptop. It works well for me, and I'm going to keep using it. I'm not going to use proprietary garbage from people like Microsoft or people like Apple. I don't have any need to. If the world was to change and if I had the need to, I'd be very, very scared about having to go back to that. So keep using open source, keep supporting open source, keep supporting people like Tom and the other people on this stream that push out the quality content that people like I watch, and all of us should be watching, because that's where we're going to get the best perspective. That's where we're going to gain the best ground as to what's going on in this world. And keep up the good work. And thank you for the invite tonight, Tom.
All right. No problem, man. Ricky, final thoughts?
I say, thinking from a new Linux user's perspective, if you're going to switch to Linux, I say dual booting is pretty much the first step. Make sure you keep your Windows installation and try Linux on the other side. Get used to it for a little while. Then once you're comfortable and you have your proper workflow established, then you can make the switch. I say basically try Ubuntu, try Linux Mint, try pretty much Linux distros that are new user friendly first, and pretty much learn about open source software and and Linux and the community in general. Then once you learn about all of that, then you can pretty much advance to the higher up distros.
All right, Daniel, final words.
Yes, this has been an extraordinary year for Linux. Besides all the other things, if you take into account that Microsoft has bought a seat on the Linux Foundation, Microsoft has bought GitHub, somebody purchased SUSE, and IBM and Red Hat have merged. There's definitely some eyes on Linux out there, and they're...
I gotta go.
See ya, pizza.
All right. Night, buddy.
And they're making their moves, and I got a feeling this isn't going to be the end of it. Linux is a great operating system. It comes in many flavors. The best thing we have going for us with Linux is freedom and choices of different distros and desktops and stuff to pick from. And Linux is a very diverse operating system. There's something there that anybody could pick that they would be most likely happy with. It's not free in the sense that it's free to buy, but it's free to download and try, and urge to when you do that, to support the people that create the software and packages. There's also a lot of people out there that make some great software, and some people that are considerate enough that make Windows versions to also make a Linux version. So with that said, there's lots of stuff going on out in the Linux world, and there's more to come.
Very cool. Very cool. But of course, if you're new to the stream, we like ending it by feeding this cute little creature that's been on the desk here. So we're going to jump on over and feed the kitty. Kitty, the people don't want to see your butt. They want to see your cute face. Come on.
He don't want them, I do.
Okay. Let's go. There we are. Come on. Stick your paw in there.
Ooh.
There you go.
All right.
Sorry, you guys on the stream can't see it as much, but if you watch on the stream part of it. Whoop. There you go. One more. There you go. Yeah, there you go. You got like 5 today. Yeah, you got like 5 today. You're going to need to go on a diet. Oh. Okay.
It's all right. I got a pet too. Here, let me get him.
How's the fleas, by the way, Tom?
I haven't seen any for a while, so. Fortunately, this new place is not hospitable to fleas, so I don't have any carpet around here.
Tom, you had fleas?
I had fleas. It was a pretty bad flea situation I had. Yeah, it's pretty bad, pretty ugly.
This is Paco.
Oh, hello. Oh. Kitty, want to see the puppy? See the puppy, kitty. Oh, hold on. You're not. Say something again.
See?
The puppy. You don't like the puppy, huh? You want to go lay down in your first mate's bunk? All right. There you go, first mate. Oh. Yeah, but stick my headphones with him.
Paco is a Jack Russell Terrier Chihuahua. We got him from the Halifax Humane Society here in Holly Hill, Florida. And basically, we believe that his previous owner has abused him. So basically, we're trying to take care of him as much as we can. And we're trying to give him the best life we can.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep, that's what we gotta do.
It just feels so upsetting that my dog is so skittish all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And it feels like that everything just went sour for him all of his life.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So yeah.
Well, if we're all showing off our pets.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, he's so cute.
Izzy the super dog.
Yeah.
No, it's kind of an interesting situation with Izzy. I actually rescued her, but the strange thing was I rescued her from my daughter. My daughter got her when she was 16. When she was 16, and
wow.
My ex-wife and my daughter asked me if I could house train the dog, and yeah, sure. So I spent a couple of months with the dog, got her on a schedule, invested a lot of time with her, and gave her back to my daughter. About a week later, my ex-wife called and said, "Oh man," she said, "the kid isn't watching the dog. Dog's off the schedule. She doesn't know when to go outside, doesn't know when to eat, this, that, and everything else." She said, "Can she come back and have you put her back on her schedule?" I said, "Sure." Well, I got Izzy back, and within 2 hours, she was back on her schedule. She knew what the deal was. About a week later, my daughter calls me and she says, "I'm going to come over and pick the dog up. I finally figured out I shouldn't be a dog owner, so I'm going to put her on Craigslist and sell her." So my response back to my daughter was, I won't say it here because we don't want to demonetize anything. My firm answer was no. Come on over and I'll give you a check. So
yeah,
ever since then, Izzy stayed with me.
There you go. That works. All right, we're going to go ahead and wrap up the stream. So we'll hang out. I'll hang out here with the Hangout Group F for a little bit afterwards. But so thanks for coming along on the stream, guys. We will catch you again another time. I should be live streaming again Wednesday evening, so we will catch you then.
Mm-hmm.